The undulating practice method. How modular exploration builds a lifelong creative continuum. The Maré music continuum. A 21st century pedagogy. Across disciplines, serious creative work rarely develops in straight lines. It evolves through cycles of curiosity, immersion, refinement, and return. Within the Maré music continuum, this process is understood as undulating practice, a method of sustained, modular exploration in which ideas are entered deeply, developed fully, and then temporarily set aside, not abandoned but archived for future reactivation. Undulating practice functions simultaneously as a self-directed learning system, a creative research methodology, and a foundation for long-term artistic resilience. The undulating cycle moves through recurring phases that build upon one another. An idea, material, or question first generates sustained interest, the phase of attraction. This is followed by immersion, a period of focused exploration of technique, language, and context. Expansion then tests variations, combinations, and applications. Refinement brings selection, editing, and structural consolidation, leading to resolution, the completion of a coherent body of work or skill set. The module is then intentionally archived. Later, the practitioner may return to it from a position of greater experience and perspective. Rather than progressing linearly, the musician or artist moves through these cycles repeatedly, accumulating depth through iteration. This approach mirrors the modular structure of traditional higher education, yet operates organically and autonomously. Each creative phase functions as a self-designed module that combines research, experimentation, technical development, reflection, and, where appropriate, public presentation. The decisive difference is that the practitioner determines pace, depth, and duration. Learning remains responsive rather than prescriptive, able to expand or contract according to the demands of the material and the capacity of the individual. A dense, multi-layered portfolio does not arise from constant productivity, but from repeated cycles of genuine completion. Projects are finished rather than abandoned. Techniques are stabilized rather than merely sampled. Ideas are resolved before they are shelved. Over time, the resulting body of work reflects intellectual and technical continuity instead of fragmentation. Revisiting earlier material is frequently misread as indecision or nostalgia. Within undulating practice, return functions as advancement. Each re-entry occurs from a position of greater skill, broader context, and more refined judgment. Earlier work becomes a testing ground for new techniques, a comparative benchmark, a site of reinterpretation, and a living archive. Return therefore enables cumulative learning without mere repetition. Sustained creative development requires periods of relative withdrawal from distraction. Practitioners of the undulating method typically organize their lives around exploration, minimizing competing demands in order to preserve cognitive and emotional bandwidth. This is not an absence of activity, but an intentional devotion to long-form attention. Depth replaces dispersion. Assessment, too, is internal and meaning-based. A phase reaches completion when techniques feel embodied, conceptual aims are satisfied, outputs feel structurally coherent, and further work would become repetitive. Completion is recognized through coherence rather than through external compliance. Because undulating practice builds multiple resolved modules, it generates long-term resilience. When one area stagnates, others remain active. When motivation falters, the archive of completed work provides grounding and continuity. Dependency on trends, platforms, or external validation diminishes. The practitioner becomes structurally self-supporting. Within the continuum framework, undulating practice connects directly to the larger progression from foundations through orientation, the building of rooms, integration, and transmission. Each undulation constructs a new room within the creative architecture. Over time, these rooms interconnect, forming a navigable ecosystem of skills, languages, and methodologies. The method holds particular pedagogical value for neurodivergent learners, interdisciplinary practitioners, independent artists, late starters, and those returning to music after interruption. By legitimizing cyclical rather than linear development, it reduces the pressure for constant novelty and supports sustainable mastery. Undulating practice reframes creative life as an ongoing research continuum rather than a sequence of isolated projects. Through patient cycles of immersion, completion, archiving, and return, practitioners build durable knowledge systems grounded in lived experience. Serious creative development is not accelerated by haste, it is deepened through recursive engagement. The portfolio that results is not merely a record of output, but evidence of a life in continuous practice. Read more at iServalan.com.